The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. How are you doing? How are you doing these? I don't check in on you enough. So hope you're doing okay. It's we're kind of in the middle of summer here. It's too freaking hot, but anyway. Here's what do we got here? Why comics should stay in their lane. Okay, I'm curious. Let's read this mail. Punished Perch. Geez. All right. The above link details a Swiss study showing the adverse myocarditis effects of taking a controversial pharmaceutical, not steroids. The implications of the results of the study are clear, but I won't deviate from the topic at hand. All right. I did not think the mail was going to start that way. All right. I couldn't help but shake my head when the host of the channel displayed a cover of Everyday Heroes, the Avengers. See the image, okay? Everyday Heroes. It was used to encourage vaccination amongst young people. This is reason number 1,234,345. It's a very random number there. For comics, steer clear of world events, particularly politically motivated ones. Thoughts? All right. So if you're confused, that's okay. We are going to we'll kind of break it down for you. We're also going to do our best to get YouTube to yank the video or put a warning on it. Hopefully not. We'll steer around this in the craziest way possible because YouTube is still actively impacting videos that talk about part of this subject. So back a couple of years ago, year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I don't remember. Marvel did a comic in concert with the kind of doctors or with Pfizer. Sorry, with Pfizer. And it was basically a, go get vaccinated. So it was the Avengers, kind of the movie version of the Avengers. And they came in and they fought some aliens. I think some people were, as I recall from the story, and it's a little hazy in my mind though. It was not a story that stood out. It's not joining kind of the Roger Stern. Anyway, not joining the classics of the Avengers at any rate. So some people, as I recall, some people were lined up to get vaccinations. This is during the height of COVID. And aliens are around, or they're attacking the hospital, or they just happen to be in the vicinity. And the people are like, man, it's like aliens attacking right here. But I got to get this vaccination. Like I'm willing to risk death by alien. But I got to get the shot because COVID is worse than the Chitauri or whatever that are, blowing up buildings. So the Avengers, defeat the aliens pretty easily. They come in, they knock them out. Everybody gets kind of a signature move. It's kind of like when, you get like when the Miz in wrestling would show up and would really heal on like the old timers. And then a bunch of the classic wrestlers would show up. And then the Miz would be like, you are all old and dumb. And then, one of them would punch him. And then they would all do their signature move. Everybody would just do their move, including wrestlers who are like, did not have the knees or back to do their move, but they would do it anyway. And it's like, ugh. But anyway, everybody got to do their move. And then the Avengers fly down and they're like, we are here for the shot too. And then they get vaccinated and they smile and everything's good. And it opens up lots of questions. Like you would think the Avengers, being kind of heroes of the earth would have their own, they'd get a special appointment or somebody would come over to the Avengers mansion and take care of that. You don't think they'd go to like the city hospital, but I don't know. Maybe they're heroes of the people. So why not, I guess. And then you got like, Thor. Does Thor need vaccination from COVID? Is that like, what's that going to do to Thor? Like as an Asgardian, I'm not sure that vaccination makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And Captain Marvel is like part Kree. Like, I don't know. There's a chance this thing, mutates her into some kind of space beast. It's a little weird. Black Widow, Hawkeye, fine. Captain America, sure. But then again, Captain America's got that super soldier serum running around in there. Have we tested the effects of the super soldier serum against the Pfizer vaccine? Anyway, it was a comic that Pfizer put out. And the basic kind of gist of it was, hey kids, your superheroes take the shot. You don't need to be scared of the shot. In fact, you should go get the shot. You should be scared of aliens. Aliens could kill you. This shot will help protect you. So if Thanos is attacking your public library, but that's where they're giving the shots, it's probably worth facing Thanos to get that shot. That's what's important. And so that was the comic, and it was handed out. It was weird, as I recall, it was handed out kind of at hospitals. And so it was kind of an ad of why you should get the vaccine, but it was given away at places that were giving the vaccine. So I'm like, were they handing those out for people who were in line, or did you get that comic afterward? And if you did, were you like what was the point of advertising for this vaccine? And also, why didn't Moderna do a comic? Like they didn't think to partner up with DC to do one. They could have. I did anyway. I had a joke that will definitely get me get this video taken off the air, so I won't do that one. But anyway, I'm just thinking of some of the other companies, and you think of like, well, this company picked Aftershock or something. Anyway, it was a joke in bad taste. Sorry. So that was what it was. Now, of course, there's some people questioning the shot's efficacy. Turned on the TV the other day. They're talking about a summer COVID surge. It's weird a little bit with COVID, where if you remember back before COVID, all right, and this is where you need to be a little honest with yourself. If you got a cold or the flu, right, you've got the cold. Did you like isolate for 3 days or stay home? No, you went to work. Most of you probably went to work. You're like, I take a little Dayquil and get right in there. Like you're sniffing, you're coughing. And people be like, oh, hey, are you okay? No, I've got a cold. Like you're just in the cube sneezing and coughing and saying, I've got a cold. You're hanging out with coworkers. I mean, like I admit, I went to the comic shop. I was sick. People are coming up like, oh man, I hope you feel better. I'm like, thank you. And of course I was infecting everyone, like just like you guys do. If you when you go to work with a flu or a cold, but we all like, it's fine. I mean, nobody really cared. Now, granted, mortality rate's not the same and everything else, but it's interesting because now in the semi post-COVID world, people are like, I had somebody, my daughter had a birthday party, and the parent calls that morning. It's like, hey, myself and the daughter, the girl coming to your birthday party tested positive for COVID. Do you think we should still come? And I was like, probably not. I mean, I don't know. She's like, oh, she can wear a mask. I'm like, nobody wants to wear a mask at a kid's birthday party. Like, well, we'll get together, play date or something, or anything else. But what's funny is if you think about 2020, somebody asking that question, like, hey, I tested positive for COVID, but should we come to the birthday party anyway? It's just wild what 3 years will do, right? Because that, I mean, I guarantee you, when I go into offices or I get on a plane, I know I'm sitting on that plane with people who absolutely tested positive for COVID and do not care at this point. Because we've moved, now it's become back like cold and flu again. It's like, take some Dayquil, try to figure it out. But I find that whole thing just a little wild. It's interesting to watch the change. I'm not, by the way, no judgment in whatever side you happen to be on all this. It's just crazy to me that how it went from A to B back to A again. It's just, it's interesting to watch as a human experiment. But as a comic book, it's cringe. It's absolutely cringy as hell. I think that if you're a comic publisher and you are getting a job from Pfizer, you're probably on the wrong side of history. Just maybe that's the way to say it. No, I don't think you should be doing that Pfizer comic book. No. And you don't need, I mean, it's first of all, it's a ridiculous, absurd story for the Avengers to be out there fight COVID while people are in line for a shot. I mean, I don't know. That's not the world outside your window. I don't know what world that is. But that's not a good plan. But comic books shouldn't, I mean, it's a good idea for comic books not to steer into this, because now there are questions about what happened, and you kind of wonder, in 20 years' time, is this comic book going to look like you know how you look back at some of the wild propaganda of the 30s and the 40s, that these things that are coming out, and it's super like uncomfortable. You're seeing like Superman running over there and just punching Japanese people, and they're drawing super wacky. Is that what this is going to look like in 20, 30 years? Is it going to be like, if I'm not saying it does, this is where YouTube's going to get me. If, problems are discovered with this vaccine, years from now, I have not any evidence or suggesting that would be the case, censors. But if something were to happen, like these comic books are going to be, well, they're going to be simultaneously huge collector's items. Like a bunch of the people who are mocking them, and probably will in the comments below in this very video, you will be paying like $50 to try to get your hands on this comic to put in a bag and slab it, because it's going to be worth so much money as a awkward artifact. And chances are it just will be anyway, because current events, I mean, when you're doing superhero escapist fantasy, current events and stuff like this it's just not a good match. It opens up too many weird questions. It's just not, it's rarely a good path to go down. The stuff doesn't age well. It usually kind of breaks the narrative. Now, this is a one shot. I mean, God help us all if this was like in the middle of the comic run. But it's like stuff, and I know this is, by the way, again, probably offensive to a different group, when they did the 9/11 tribute comic, and some people pointed out recently in the comics, you have Dr. Doom showing up with a tear in his eye, at the tragedy of 9/11. Yeah, 9/11 was a tragedy. Dr. Doom, however, has, ripped the Baxter building out of the foundations and sent it to space. Like, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby all glossed over some of that, but there's a lot of people who work in that building. Those people, there's a good chance a high number of those people floated off into, and died in space. I mean, there are many comics of Dr. Doom blowing up giant cities. I mean, Jason Aaron had a Dr. Doom that was like killing off parts of the multiverse. I mean, just it is goofy if you're going to do a comic where Dr. Doom feels bad about a current event, because it doesn't make sense, and frankly, it doesn't make a lot of sense for the heroes either. The heroes showing up at 9/11, like, this is a tragedy. Nobody there is like, hey, Reed, you've got a time machine in your basement, right? You have an actual time machine, and Tony Stark, you invent all these cool things. You've got robots that dress you and all this kind of stuff. You didn't think to have like a little satellite system that would keep a plane from flying into a building? Like you didn't do, like, what's wrong with you, heroes? I mean, this is why it's best not to go capture stuff like this, because it really doesn't make sense. I like how this video has managed to tackle both COVID and 9/11 in one video. So this video is going to have warnings plastered all over it. Or the poor YouTube person, like the automated bot is going to go, this video triggered 800 things. And so some human will review it and be incredibly confused. Like, what is this guy talking about? I'm just saying, so current events in comics, yeah, it's a bad idea. It rarely ends well. It's, you can do cutesy things like you do the Obama backup story in Spider-Man, where the chameleon was trying to impersonate Obama and Spider-Man stopped him. I mean, that's probably as far as you want to go. I mean, it's campy. It's a backup story though, but I mean, that's fine. But when you're taking money from Pfizer to do a vaccine comic, no, that's a bad plan. Anyway, or did you love it? Am I wrong here? COVID denier. No, come on. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe. I mean, you got to after this one. Thanks for listening.